Now, in my review, I talked about how this whole thing is 14 by 18, and that in the description, it talked about how this part was 12 by 16. Well, it's not, and we measured, and it is in fact 11 and a quarter and around 15, which I will measure that when I'm getting deeper in. And so I decided that instead of trying to find a frame that would fit it, which none exists, or having it custom framed, I thought I would custom frame it myself. So I went out and bought a big, huge piece of matting, and I have cut it down to 16 by 20. So currently this is 16 by 20. And I am going to show you how to make the perfect window opening for this piece and how to measure it out so that it comes out perfect. So here we go. Okay, so the way we find the perfect window, I actually learned this from the Blick YouTube video that describes it exactly as I'm going to describe it. And I'll actually put a link to that YouTube video in the description, just so you can maybe see it a little bit clearer if I don't explain it to you as good as they did. But what they say, and they start out with a diagram like this, is that you find your frame size, which ours is 16 by 20. So 16 by 20. Then you find the interior size. We've already established that this is 11.25, and I measured this side, and it is just a hair over 15, not much. But I want to put it right at 15 because I'd like my window to cover like this first row of beads all the way around, just to make sure it looks perfectly straight. So I have decided to put it right at 15. And then what they have you do is they have you take your 16 minus the actual size, so 11.25, and what that is. And I've already done the calculations, and it equals 4.75. And then to find how much you're going to put on each side, you're going to divide that by 2, which equals 2.375, which is basically half of 75ths of an inch. So, and then you take your long side, doesn't matter whether you do the short side or the long side first, doesn't matter, which is 20, divide that, or excuse me, minus that by this, which is 15. That equals 5, and then you're going to divide that by 2, equals 2.5. So this way, we're going to have 2 1/2 of 3/4 of an inch. And on this way, we're going to have 2 1/2. So let's get started measuring that out. Okay, I've done a little bit of the pre-work. So what I did was I went 2.37, which is basically just under 2.5. I mean, it's not that difficult. So 2.37 in on that side, 2.37 in on that side, made a little mark. 2 1/2 up from here, 2 1/2 down from here, and made a little mark on each side. Then I took my straight edge, connected all the dots, and I've got my window drawn out. And you, of course, always want to draw it out on the back. And I put my measurements back here just so I know when I'm storing it where it is. And so your front is completely clean. All right. And so then what I do is I take my piece, before I do any cutting at all, I take my piece and look at where the edges are and see if I'm happy with where that's going to be. And if you can see, I'm going to try and show you. See, there's my line, And there's where it's gonna come. I'm happy with that. There's my line, and there's where it's gonna come. I'm very happy with that. So now I've checked my width. I'm happy with my width. Let's check my length. So we've got it right in the middle of the windows. There's my line. And there's where it's gonna come. I'm happy with that. Down here is my line. And there's where it will come. Now I can center that even more, but it's still going to be just over because I don't want any of this yucky fuzz glue stuff to show. So I want to make sure everything is just over. All right, so we have measured, drawn our lines, and now it's time to get out the fun toy, the Compact Classic Mat Cutter. I actually just picked this up and it was very reasonably priced, I have to say. So the next little section will be me cutting out the window with the mat cutter. Okay. Start at the beginning, push in the blade, and run it down. Right until it comes flush with your other line. Lift up the blade, pull it back, and pull it out. Do your next one. Do this. All right. Okay. Blade up. Line it up. Push in the blade. And push. Perfect. And do that one more time. Get it lined up exactly. Push in the blade. And out. And do the other sides. He's already starting. Look at that. It's fun. And it's a bevel. Love it. Okay. Next up, now we're going to have to change this because this is a little bit different measurement. Okay, tighten it up. Lift this up. Put it on. Line up the line exactly. Push down on the blade and go. Perfect. Do it again. Not necessary. No, it sure wasn't. All right, here comes the last cut. I'm excited about this. I am going to be doing lots and lots of custom framing for myself. This is easy. And this was not expensive, as I said. And if you have a certain craft store that you like, great, but Hobby Lobby has 40% off coupons. And you can get this, which is already reasonably priced, and get 40% off, and it's dirt cheap at that point for something like this. Okay, so we've got our lines all matched up. And boom. Lift up. And that should be the last one. Let's see. La, so exciting. And this is not garbage. I can keep that and do something fun with it, for sure. Put that right over here with the rest of our mattings. And look at this. This is amazing, actually. I need to show the perfect bevel that came from that. I wonder if I can get really nice and close. Okay. Let's move the camera so we can see a little bit closer. And look. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. That is going to be amazing. I love it. It is just over the edge, just ever so slightly to cover the ugly stuff. Close up a little bit. All right. Now, all we have to do is put it in our frame.